Hello everyone, this is Apoorva, and today I'm excited to introduce Nikki Lindgren. She is the owner of a fantastic agency called Pennock, who we love working with. And today we'll talk to Nikki about the challenges of being an agency owner and the challenges that come with it and how she's thinking about AI.
Apoorva, thanks for having me today. So excited to be here. So I have been in this space pretty much my entire professional career, helping brands first build their e-commerce store and then figure out how to get the traffic and the qualified customers there.
I'm curious, like you've done this for almost 2 decades now, and then how have you seen this kind of evolve, especially DTC? The face of DTC has completely changed over the last 10 years or so.
There have been so many changes in the marketplace, and I think like even looking back, I started this agency Pennock about 5 years ago, and we were recently looking back at some decks we did in 2020 for a couple of brands, and we were so showy. Like we had so many pages of data and just like knew the ins and outs and who was getting targeted and who wasn't, and it was just like data vomit of like here's a view of what's happening and here's the story by which we move forward. And I feel like as the industries have evolved, people are really looking for simplification. They don't need you to prove how smart you are by saying you're familiar with all of their data. They just need to know what's next. One of the most recent evolutions that we've really latched onto is what's called in the industry marketing efficiency ratio, or MER, and just looking at the total, and it's calculated as total e-commerce revenue divided by paid media spend. So we like it, one, because it's simplified, two, it's also relatively favorable looking when you look at a business. But I think the best reason for looking at the business at that simplistic of a level is because you're able to say like, hey, I can actually spend half of your budget on awareness and not be responsible for that being a fabulous return on ad spend, yet still your business will grow. And so that's kind of how we've been able to simplify stuff with clients. I think that's another huge component of it. Of the evolutions and the changes we've seen. And then I think the final one, which brings us to kind of what you at Bestever do, is really related to creative and creative insights, creative output. All of that stuff is really what seems to be moving the needle more so than anything else. I think the latest study was like 42% of everything you can do is just creative itself.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we're not, falling short in that lane with what we're doing for our clients.
What is often the challenge with finding the right one? Is it because you don't know if it's too new, it's not proven, or is it the pricing, or is it just the workflow doesn't work with what you already have? Like general problems with the modern tools of these days.
Yes. So I think I'm very happy to try new technology. So I think even like, Black Friday, Cyber Monday 2023, like dating ourselves here a little bit, one of your competitors put out a really great promo that was basically like free for some time. And I was so excited to sign up and try. And like day one, everything crashed. I'm like, I don't know where my content went. Like, I don't have time to put it back in. And so it's like, this is such a bait and switch, right? They got me there so quickly. I was so excited. I'm like, why did I not know them sooner? And then, totally sour taste in my mouth. So I think there's been a lot of experiences like that where it's like a overpromise, underdeliver. And so that's something we're looking into. And then for the tools that are well suited for us, maybe even and costly, it's just, does my team and myself have time to like train to actually use it effectively, right? So like we'll do this even with media buying platforms. Like, is it really going to save us 8 hours per month per team member to make it worth our time? So I think there has to be some sort of strategic view like that, is like, is this just another thing to buy to spend money on, or is my team really going to leverage and use this product the way we want them to?
How do you see AI in general? Forget about the tools, but I'm sure I know for a fact that your team does use AI to make your life efficient, and you're like one of the first adopters of Bestever, which thank you very much for. I'm curious, how do you see AI impacting your world, and what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think for us, it's in like the ad creative or just creative in general lane. It is solving the problem of collating the data, telling a story with the data, solving the problem of like what do we want to do next as a symptom of this, then putting together that crystal clear brief that we can bring to a client to get their buy-in to then either have the client make or us make ourselves. So I think like that's really in a circular fashion like what we would want to be using technology for. And then similar on like the ads management side, we want to make the same calls. So instead of spending hours collecting the data to then start to tell the story, bring the data to us, and then we can kind of more quickly and succinctly use our time to be strategic partners and not just like button pushers. I think this year in particular has been an interesting one just because the value of a media buyer I think has really come in all shapes and forms. We've had a lot of prospects who really just want to pay AI to do the work we do through and through. We've also dabbled in testing out all of these AI competitors to see who might be able to do it better than us or at the same level as us. So like, I think there's just been a lot of like, proving the value, but then we don't want to just become dinosaurs and like fall behind, right? So it's like to convince someone that what we do is still valuable when they think it's not is not a really good position to be in. So we're really positioning our ability to help certain size brands where their budgets are of a level that gets more complicated. And then we're looking at full roll up like forecasting with brands to see what their future looks like, even beyond paid media. So helping them with their overall financial planning. And we're also layering on more creative as a service for our clients because our smallest of clients do need us to leverage something like Bestever to get them the assets they need more and more. So we're trying to like move with the times to stay relevant rather than continuing to try to prove that something that has less value in the eyes of the buyer is still of value.
What have you seen your clients struggle that you've been able to sort of help out with by getting in place now, either with AI or otherwise? What is the key, like, top three things that you feel like brands that are starting out are doing wrong, and then you're able to get in and help them out with?
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about a small brand for starters, just because we have so many friendlies in that emerging space. So let's say like you're working towards your first 500K year up to $1 million. And I feel like with brands in that space, what they're really having a hard time understanding is what percentage of, projected revenue should be spent in ads, right? So kind of like putting together formulas for them to see what is best. Generally speaking, it's roughly 30%. It's going to vary a bit client by client or brand by brand. So we'll walk them through what that looks like. And then the other things I think brands are kind of struggling with is that recognition of awareness and like why they should be comfortable spending money on things that aren't converting ASAP. So that's where that MER calculation comes in handy. I would say the final thing is true attribution. So a lot of our brands are like, can we just use GA4 data? And I'm like, oh, you're killing me. Like, we really can't. Your social programs are going to look awful. So I think helping brands either put in an attribution and MMM solution like Northbeam or Triple Whale, or kind of waiting to see what Meta comes out with as their ever evolving ways of tracking attributions. And I know that's been a hot topic for a few months here now. So I think the cookieless future and just trackability and all of that is what we're starting to kind of keep an eye on and look to the future for solves for our clients.
And do you have advice for brands who maybe are just starting off and maybe can't afford Pennock yet, but it's something that you think they should be doing if you had to advise them?
Yeah, I think the first things I would advise early stage businesses to do is work to set up their shop integrations in Google Merchant Center. I believe the new version is even called Merchant Center Next. It's going to be even simpler to use, and same to TikTok and Meta Shops. So the more you can force catalog connectivity and then run catalog ads on Google, it's Performance Max, on Meta it's Advantage Plus Shopping with catalog assets. So there's a lot of like very simple builds that one could do in-house just to get, you know, the beauty and the visibility of whatever it is on their product detail pages out there. And I would say that would be kind of step number one, which they could do likely in-house or with the help of a freelancer for at a very affordable rate.
My final question, what are you most excited about, either in terms of technology or the scope of your company? What are you most excited about in the upcoming years?
The thing that I'm personally the most excited about is really coming to the table to help build media plans and paid media SEO strategies that will prove they layer up to top line and profitability for brands. Oftentimes with our older clients, let's say, that have been with us for a while, they kind of keep us in a silo and we're just focused on these things. And I think the more we're able to come to the table and find strategies that work more seamlessly across everything they're doing, it's just a huge value add for the business.
Thank you so much, Nikki, for joining me today and dropping all this really valuable information for brands, especially if we're starting off. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, absolutely. Happy to be here.